Hey, law firm bosses. If you're thinking about hiring an agency to grow your law firm, you're going to be so glad that you came across this video because I'm going to arm you with 5 questions that you can ask the agencies that you're interviewing as potential vendors for your law firm to better assess whether they're a fit for your firm and for the goals that you have to grow your business. Before I dive into the questions, I'm going to start by sharing a story with you. There once was a law firm owner who was so excited to hire an agency to grow her business. But what happened surprised everyone. This law firm owner talked to this agency, met with the heads of the agency, the creative people, and thought she had done a really good job at screening the agency because they seemed to know what they were talking about. They convinced her to make a decent investment. It was affordable, but it was a bit of a stretch. And they said, don't worry, you're going to make this investment and in due time, you'll reap the rewards. Do you want to know what happened? After months and months and months of showing the law firm owner data, analytics, giving the law firm owner examples of tasks that were being completed on time and on budget, the phone wasn't ringing any more than it had been before. The client portfolio was about the same as it was, and the law firm owner became frustrated. She thought to herself, what have I done? I spent all of this money on this agency that promised me some results. I did it with the best intentions. I invested in marketing and it should be giving me a return on my investment, but instead, I'm not even sure what's going on. Does this story sound familiar? A lot of law firm owners that have a similar experience because they hire agencies or they hire vendors that specialize even in a tactic, say social media or SEO or PPC. They hire these vendors and they invest a lot of money before they figure out that something's not right, that this particular vendor isn't working. And you get what's called marketing PTSD, because then what happens is the next vendor that comes and offers you results and offers you good work will be met with a lot of resistance, a lot of skepticism, and rightfully so. But you may miss out on a vendor that actually does know what they're doing, because now you're frustrated, you're difficult to work with, just saying, it happens, and you're not open to new ideas because you've been burned before, and it's very understandable. So I'm hoping that by watching this video and by asking these questions that I'm gonna walk you through asking and how to interpret the answers, you will feel much more comfortable, whether you've never hired an agency and you have all of the optimism in the world. I want to help you avoid hiring the wrong agency, or if you've got marketing PTSD because you've already hired someone and everything went sideways. So the first question that I'm going to advise you to ask to, one, help avoid you becoming disappointed when you hire the wrong agency, or two, better vet your vendors so that you don't let your marketing PTSD or your past trauma affect your chances of success with the next one. You want to ask the agency to describe in detail what their scope of work is. This means that you should be getting a document or something in writing that really walks you through what is included and what is not included in your services with the agency. A lot of miscommunication and frustration happens at this stage where there isn't clarity either from the vendor or from the buyer. You as a business owner are the buyer in this scenario as to what is the actual scope of work? What are the tasks that are going to get done? So when you ask this question, look for details like the amount of hours that you can count on the vendor for, or the level of results. What does that mean? I'll give you an example. If you're talking to an agency that's going to produce, say, graphic design for social media, video content or any sort of content that you're going to use for your marketing, you want to get some clarity about how much content is included and how often. There's a lot of confusion that can happen where a vendor maybe puts together a package that's profitable for them, but maybe is not giving you the volume of content that you need to actually get your business to the next level. So you want to get some clarity about the scope of work is the proper term for this part of an agreement that you're going to make with the agency. Bullet points are fine. So a bullet point can be social media content, X amount of graphic design posts per week or per month, or it can be described as results. Social media content, X amount of views per week or per month. If you ask me, my preference is the latter. I'd rather work with an agency that's going to give me a scope of work that describes the results that I can expect rather than the work. The work may have to vary, especially with social media. Social media algorithms change all of the time. So one day, one post can help me reach X amount of people, and the next day I might need 3 or 4, and I might even need to get more creative to make sure that my marketing is effective on social media. So that's an example of the scope of work question. Expect a document, something in writing, and expect one of 2 or a combination of elements in that scope of work. They can either be labor or hours, or they can be results oriented scope of work descriptions. If you're not sure what a scope of work can look like, at Marketing Boss, you can get with us for a free consultation and tell us what it is that you need, and we'll help you outline a scope of work that might work for you and whatever agency you're looking to hire. That way you can come with that and offer them suggestions and then see what they can offer you for a fair price. The other question that you should ask is about creative rights. Ask the marketing vendor that you're interviewing what creative rights your law firm will have over anything and everything that is created. I cannot tell you how many times law firm owners end up so disappointed because they pay really good money for things like video, photography, websites, and other assets that they never even owned. So once the agency leaves, all of that work goes with them. They're not able to edit, they're not able to even use or recycle any of that content. So it's very, very important to ask the agency that you're talking to about the creative rights that you will have and can expect to have over your assets. Now, to be fair, there is usually an extra cost. Expect to pay a little bit more to an agency that's willing to sell you creative rights, or at least a level of creative authority over the assets that they will create. And this is very reasonable because if you think about it, these agencies invest in training, education, and they create their methodologies and their tactics and strategies for designing. So once they give you things that are editable so that you can reverse engineer them, they're pretty much giving away their intellectual property in a way. I'm not an IP lawyer. I only play one on this video, but do some research, really get into what will your creative rights be, what will be the creative rights of the agency, and be reasonable with your expectations. It's totally fine to pay a little bit extra, and I recommend it if it means that whatever this agency that you're going to work with is going to be yours to use, recycle, repurpose, and things like that. Another thing though that you may want to consider is creative rights can be limited by an agency, and it's reasonable if the creative rights are being limited because the agency is licensing photography or stock footage. So I'll give you an example. If an advertising agency is buying permission to use a picture from a site and they pay, say, $30 or $60 to use this image in your marketing materials, technically they don't have the right to then allow you to use that same image on a TV commercial, because those creative rights cost extra from a lot of these website vendors that offer stock footage and stock photos. So it's not anything that's out of this world for an agency to say, yes, I will give you creative rights. Yes, I will sell you creative rights. And no, I cannot give you creative rights. No, I cannot sell you creative rights because I'm using these stock photos or I'm licensing things on my behalf for your use for your account. So understand those dynamics and be reasonable with your expectations. It's not always a bad thing for somebody to limit your creative use. You just have to have clarity about it. And ideally, you do want to have creative licenses. So one way to work around this is if you work with an agency, then you can pay for the stock footage, for the stock video. You can license all of those materials so that you don't have that extra layer. Or you can pay an agency to just create original content that's yours from the beginning and make that investment and not have to worry about that altogether. If you need help figuring out a reasonable level of creative rights that you should be asking any given agency with whatever projects that you're specifically looking at, you can book a consultation with us and review some ideas, and we'll give you some guidelines that you can work with when you go and interview your vendors. So we went over scope of work and we went over creative rights. Now let's talk about project management. Are you excited? I'm excited. I love project management. So one of the biggest weaknesses in a lot of agency and lawyer law firm relationships is project management. And not a lot of people are talking about it. And here's why I'm talking about it. You want to ask the agency, how will my particular projects be managed? And get some sort of clarity on, will they be using a software? Will they be using email and just sending you weekly emails? Or maybe they'll be using some sort of chat tool like Slack, or a combination. Project management is so important, and it's important to have clarity about this from the beginning, because if you do not have a good solution for project management, or if your agency, your future agency, doesn't have a good solution for project management, especially when they're doing a lot of work on your brand, on your marketing, and really managing a lot of miscellaneous tasks, it's very easy for things to fall through the cracks. Let me give you an example. You have a law firm and you ask for a website. And as part of this website, there are so many steps involved. There's a design phase. There's copywriting, there's fact checking, there's spell checking, there's photography, video, there's integrating a CRM. There's so many different steps involved in a website project that it can be very, very easy for things like, hey, there's a contact form on my website. Where should that go? And for there to be confusion with so many different people and specialists working on a project like a website. I'll give you another example with websites. A lot of people don't realize, but there's a lot of skill sets, and most people have entire teams to build a website, because you need somebody that understands design, you need somebody that understands copy, and they're not always the same person. You also need somebody to do the development on the site, and again, they're not always the same person. You also need somebody to integrate the contact forms, and that usually involves some sort of CRM expert. A CRM is a client relationship management tool, where this is a software that you use to embed forms in websites and landing pages and then collect the information, send out emails. I love, love, love working with agencies that use some sort of project management software like Asana. My favorite is ClickUp, even Trello is okay, and a couple others, Airtable, because project management software will break down the main project and all of the subtasks involved. It'll give you clarity as far as who's doing what task, what the deadlines are. And if you're a law firm owner, you're probably going to want to be involved at some level of the review and approval process. So you'll have clarity so that you can schedule yourself some time to review and approve your projects, your content, or whatever else is getting out the door with your picture and your name on it. So you want to get some clarity about what project management software is going to be used to do all of the project management for your projects by this agency. If an agency says, my project management software is an Excel spreadsheet, it's not my favorite, but maybe that can work. My project management style is to just email you stuff. No bueno. I don't recommend that. Run the other way. That's usually a sign of an agency that's not going to be very organized, that's going to probably require a lot of hand holding as far as giving them instructions about what you like, what your preferences are, and fixes. And I just don't recommend working with an agency that at minimum doesn't have their own project management software or solution that is electronic and provides clarity about what they're doing, when they're going to do it, who's going to do it, and has some sort of feature that allows for notes and feedback that you can interact with as an owner of the brand that's being worked on. If you need help breaking into the world of marketing project management like a boss, you can connect with us for a discovery session / free consultation, and we'll be happy to walk you through some resources that you can use to get more familiar with project management so that you can better collaborate with your vendors. At Marketing Boss, we also offer to be project managers for you and your vendors that you might be using to help you stay on top of all of it. So definitely hit us up for more information about that. Our clients love not having to worry about all of the moving pieces and knowing that everything's taken care of because we're managing the projects, we're managing the software, we're managing the vendors like a boss for you while you're out drinking Mai Tais on the beach or doing whatever you like to do in your free time as a law firm owner. The next question that you should ask is, how will deadlines be managed and how will I receive regular updates? It is completely reasonable, and I would expect a professional agency to provide you with some sort of frequency of reporting, like a monthly meeting, for example, would be an acceptable answer. Like, I'm going to give you an update every single week. I'm going to give you an update every single month. So-and-so is going to send you an email, or so-and-so is going to give you a report. Those are all acceptable answers when it comes to how will deadlines be managed and how will people be held accountable for meeting those deadlines so that I can ensure proper progress of my projects. The last question that you want to ask, and I would say it's one of the most important questions, is how will success be measured? This is where a lot of people fall short when it comes to vetting the right vendors. I'll give you an example. If you're looking for a social media vendor and you go to them and you say, hey, I want somebody that can create 2 videos a week, 3 posts, 2 stories, etc., etc., etc. And I want them to look like this and I want them to look like that. You may completely miss the mark as far as how will success be measured. The key word in this question is the word measured. You need to have goals that are measurable, and tasks are not where I'm going with measure. Yeah, technically you can count the number of tasks that are completed, but at the end of the day, what's going to grow your law firm is actually meeting goals that make your law firm more visible, more likable, and that get people to respond to your advertising. So you want to set quantifiable goals related to the marketing tactics that you're investing in, and they've got to be goals that are attainable. So these are called KPIs. They're called key performance indicators. I highly recommend that you take some time to really think about what are your actual goals for your different tactics and come up with reasonable, measurable goals. If you have no idea how to set these goals, we're here for you. This is one of the things that we love to do at Marketing Boss. We'll do what's called a complete audit using the Bossy method, which is our signature method for auditing and creating goals and creating plans and managing projects. And we'll walk you through from beginning to end what your media looks like, what your baseline is, what are some reasonable goals for growth, so that when you hire an agency, you're clear with them from the beginning and they can be clear with you how success will be measured. For example, if you go to an SEO vendor and you say, hey, SEO vendor, right now my traffic is 18,000 impressions per month and 10 leads per month from organic SEO and a bounce rate of 75% and a unique visitors quantity of 15,000. So I would measure my success with your company by increasing each of these KPIs by 10% month to month. Is that something that you can do? That's a much better conversation than, hey, so are you going to do my SEO? Yeah. And we'll increase your traffic a lot. We'll increase it a bunch. That's not a good goal. You want to get very clear with your vendor about how will success be measured, and either you provide them some data as a baseline or let them analyze what you have going on and give you some recommendations about what they think success would look like based on their work. And obviously do the math. If an SEO vendor charges you $10,000 but is only, or $10,000 a month, but is only offering you a 10% monthly increase in unique visitors, that may not be worth your investment. So definitely do the math. If a social media vendor offers you a 5-time growth in impressions and engagement from your existing and charges you $2,000, well, that's a no-brainer. I don't even care how many posts or videos they're going to include for that. I care about those results, because at the end of the day, that's what's going to make your law firm grow. Remember that at Marketing Boss, we're here for you. We do not provide marketing services or tactics and have zero biases as far as which agency you want to use, what vendors you want to use. We're here to help you make the best decisions for your business. We're open to working with whatever vendor you choose to work with to actually apply your marketing strategies. We're here to help educate you and turn you into a better boss when it comes to your marketing. You're already a boss if you own a law firm. We'll make you a better marketing boss. For more information, visit our website and schedule a free discovery session, and we'd be happy to help you vet vendors, walk you through anything that you need to know so that you can be well equipped to source and screen the best agency possible for your law firm.